special news bulletin. I'm Jared Reedy and this is Joe McCord. We'll just wait till this fills up until 4 o'clock and then we'll roll the intro. How's your day been, Joe?
Really busy. I have a job, but we had to jump on this while we could because as you tell me, you've got some breaking news that I haven't even heard of yet. So it's going to be pretty interesting to hear from you live. What
Yes.
you got to say?
Mate, it's not often that I get tidbits of information, but I feel like it's the right thing to do today. So
And have you checked that it hasn't broken elsewhere yet? Is it still an exclusive?
I think it is. I think it is.
All right, cool. This is a very exciting time. Chuck it up in the WTF as well if you haven't.
Will do, mate.
Yes.
So it's on X, posted to the forums.
Let's see here. Well, there's some chats going on already,
Beautiful.
I think. Lolo. Who's Lolo? Oh, somebody's probably laughing at the name of the of the stream. It's called Gone Galvin.
Uh,
All right, the clock's about to tick over, and when the clock ticks over, I'll do the honors of hitting that song, and I'll see if I can pull it off without embarrassing myself this week.
Go on, mate.
We'll see. Can somebody do the New Year's Eve countdown? Nah, I don't know. We'd be running a risk because we don't know what time it's going to tick over.
No, we don't.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
We're only strangers. We're only strangers. Till we realize. This life is temporary. Life is temporary. An illusion we must fight. An illusion we must fight. Open up your eyes. Gonna be alright.
West Tigers faithful, not sure what number the episode is. I don't think this
28.5.
actually qualifies as an episode. It's more of a breaking news bulletin. Joe McCord, how are you?
Good, mate. I can't wait to hear what you've got to offer because you've given me insider tips before, but you've never had the guts to actually say them out loud. So I'm assuming it's going to be pretty shit, to be honest.
Well, I was given the all clear to actually do it. I get a little bit here and there, but typically I try and keep things to a minimum. But
Cool.
couldn't help myself this time. Okay, so we may as well just dive straight in. As everybody knows, the Tigers fielded a $5.25 million offer over 5 years to Lachlan Galvin and his management. It was turned down last week, as everybody knows. That's only just come out today. Obviously, the Tigers have released a statement. Lockie's not going to be with us beyond 2026. But over the weekend, the Tigers began to pull some reins and some strings and do some delving and some deep diving, and made contact with one man's management. That man is Daly Cherry Evans. I'm not saying that West Tigers are going to sign Daly Cherry Evans. Well done, Adam Rulevsky. Well done. I'm not saying that we are signing Daly Cherry Evans, but the West Tigers are hoping to swap Lachlan Galvin with Daly Cherry Evans. So to give you an idea, Galvin is a Moses client, as we all know. Lachlan was actually shot to Manly in the preseason of 2024. There was a release request at that time from his management to West Tigers. It was turned down. Obviously, there was a lot of chat midway through last year. Now, Manly obviously have Anthony Large, which is quite ironic, given that he went there because Lachlan was blocking his path. They have Joey Walsh. They are chasing Jamal Fogarty. But the Tigers, while they have leverage, they're going to try and make it happen. Now, look, there's a lot to happen here. Obviously, whether or not both players want to go to their respective clubs, I'm sure that Galvin would have no issue going to an Isaac Moses McDonald's franchise. I'm not too sure whether or not, because obviously I think Daly wants to win a ring. It's whether or not he actually thinks that he can win a ring here. but we will see what happens.
Where my Finu?
Matt, give me your thoughts.
It's funny, hey, because like I was having a big conversation last night while you were like fucking out there on Pluto. I don't even know how you're with me today. The amount of alcohol this guy consumed last night to be out here breaking news at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the day after what you went through, like credit to you, mate.
A lot of this.
Isaac Moses, yeah, mate. Like, can we start a petition or something to like strong arm the clubs into getting this fuckwit out of the game?
I think we are now the podcast that is ready for a petition. The West Tigers podcast boys
We are
did a phenomenal job ousting the boys and the board and
True.
Lee.
True.
We might have to start a petition to.
As I was going to
get
say,
Whitehead out.
as I was going to say, the timing of this is pretty weird because like it's coming off the back of like a game where he was really bad. Like it's almost like you're telling me that the Tigers started like making these moves over the weekend,
Yes.
and then he comes out and he puts in the performance like we won. Like, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But like, he was not good, and now maybe it makes sense as to why.
Well, I was thinking that too. Once the news sort of broke, like, never kicks the ball dead. Did it 2 or 3 times yesterday. Got the angles on the kicks wrong. Was a little bit heavy. Maybe. But look, they're gonna come down on him like a ton of bricks.
Well, what I was
The
gonna
hill at Combank. That's for sure.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Will they?
Yes. Do you don't recall James Tedesco, Aaron Woods?
No, I mean, I don't think Teddy got too much of a boot. Did he? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Galvin and his agent pull him out of the team list this week. Because he's
Very, very interesting. All right, guys, I'm getting a couple of questions about Latu Finu. Okay, so I don't have any inside information on Latu. What I will say is this. The fella has played 80 minutes twice in the last 2 years. Nice one, Cam. I love Latu. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful proposition. At 6 or 7 for us moving forward, partnering Jerome Luai at the scrum base. But I have to say this. Shane Richardson isn't here for the long haul. I've heard it multiple times. It was reiterated to me when I got this mail. The 4-year deal is how long he'll be here for. He wants a ring. He wants another premiership. He wants to see another team on the podium with the proven that he has led back from relative obscurity. Now, as much as I love Latu, Latu is not a win-now proposition. Daly Cherry Evans turns us into premiership contenders overnight. And I know how much respect that Latu has for Daly Cherry Evans because he was his mentor coming through the grades at the Sea Eagles. For both Jerome Luai and Latu Finu's development, I think it would be exceptional to see Daly come across for a couple of years. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, on the topic of Daly Cherry Evans at the West Tigers, it seems like a fairy tale to me. If it happens, it'll be one of the greatest days in the history of the West Tigers.
Yeah, Murray, I wouldn't class Daly Cherry Evans as a dumb decision, mate.
I think what Murray needs to probably understand is that like Lachlan Galvin is going to not be at the West Tigers from 2027. Probably, knowing the history of Isaac Moses in this club, probably not from 2026, maybe not even from next week. Like, that's, like, at this point in time, there's no certainty that Lachlan Galvin is going to be at the club beyond today. And Daly Cherry Evans, yes, he's long in the tooth, but this isn't swapping. This isn't us in a situation where we're swapping our future all-time great for somebody who's got one foot out the door. It's swapping somebody who's basically packed up and gone for somebody who is the form halfback in the NRL. Like, Daly Cherry Evans is old, but he has been the best halfback in the NRL this year. And if you disagree with that, look at the stats. Like, he has been in career best form. He does not look like he's lost a step. people who know how to measure these things think he's got the potential to play many more years still. He's a different kind of beast. He's got that Cam Smith quality about him. He's got that durability. He's got that passion for the game still. And if he didn't have the passion for the game, he wouldn't have been making the choices that he's made about like his decision to move on from Manly and stuff like that. It would have just been like, oh, well, that'll do me. I'm retiring, and he's not. So I agree with you, Rudy. I don't think it's a dumb decision. I think if we could make that swap happen and we sign DCE on a 2-year deal this year and next year, it's perfect.
I believe it's for 2026 onwards. As far as I'm aware, Ches wants to see out his final year at the Sea Eagles.
Yeah.
He's made that vow to the playing group, and quite frankly,
Yeah,
Shane Richardson, he'd have Galvin, languishing wherever, first grade, reserve grade, group C, wherever it may be.
I don't think that like DCE's guarantees to his playing group mean too fuck all with based on his history. But like if it all comes about that, like the Manly ownership group and the CEO of Manly and the Tigers ownership group and the CEO of the Tigers, Lachlan Galvin and DCE all want to make this deal happen, it'll happen like that. It's gonna come down to Daly.
A few people asking, would Jerome be happy with not being the main man? I would like to say that this feels to me like the Ben Hunt Brisbane situation. He's coming to win a comp and he's the cherry on top. Jerome's the cake. That's the way I see it. Jerome's leader of the club. His voice and his communication is extremely important. And we have a strong leadership base with Uppy and so forth. I understand where people are coming from, but at the same time, let's...
Dad. Hey, Dad.
Hey, mate. I told him about this earlier today. A lot of people saying us getting Insight Legacy just said getting DCE shouldn't cost us young players. Yeah, it shouldn't. But it also...
It'd gain us young players. Let's be real.
Well, he's helping to dig the well so these kids can drink. Like it's only 2 years realistically, and if Latu can get minutes wherever he can, who knows?
Oh, okay.
Brandon does not like this idea at all. We got to. This is divided opinion.
Let me point something out. Okay, let's take DCE off the table for a second.
Go for it.
And let's point out the fact that yes, Lachlan Galvin just made a decision to leave the West Tigers, ignoring this DCE news, because there's only one fact that we know for sure right now, and that fact is that Lachlan Galvin is not going to be with the club past next year. That the club has made that announcement. That's happening. Lachlan Galvin and his management group made that decision, and the only clubs that he's been linked to are below us on the ladder right now. So the club has done all it could. Like when we had conversations earlier in the year about whether or not I thought Lachlan Galvin would continue on with the club, I said probably not. You remember, right? Like I didn't think he would stay.
Yeah.
But I did say if he was gonna stay, it was gonna be because we were winning games, and that we somehow put the best offer forward. The club is winning games and put the best offer forward, and he still didn't stay. That means the club never had a chance.
That's right.
This club never had a chance. It is not the administration of the club's fault that this happened. The media, the first article I saw in retaliation to the press statement that the club released called it weird. It's the best statement the club has put out around something like this I've ever seen.
I loved how salty it was.
Whichever journalist labelled that as weird has an axe to grind and is on Isaac Moses' payroll, because there was nothing wrong with that statement. I have since gone to Reddit, Twitter, just to pulse check all of the fans around the NRL. Not a single fan around the NRL that hasn't been toxified by some dumb fuck journalist thinks this is bad for the Tigers. In fact,
Buzz reckons it's all right.
Even last night after the game, I went on Twitter just to look through all of the feedback on Twitter about Galvin's performance. There were people there that were saying the Tigers would be better off without him. Like, this is people from other clubs. And everybody was honest about it. And look, I don't want to rub it in. Lachlan Galvin, you know how I feel about Lachlan Galvin, man. Like, I think Lachlan Galvin is fantastic and has amazing potential, but he was about to become a massive burden on this team's salary cap, and he was about to put enormous amounts of pressure on himself at a club that already has a lot of pressure on it, as you can tell. So, I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing even if DCE doesn't come. Because I was literally going to line up on Tuesday and I was going to call for Adam Dewey to take over the 6 jersey. You know this. It's in the Discord. I was literally going to come out and I was going to say, Galvin needs a spell in reserve grade. He's trying too hard. Adam Dewey is back to his old self again, and people need to remember that Adam Dewey as a 6 was not a bad player when he was at his prime. When he was at his best, he was our best player. To say that Lachlan Galvin of 2025 April 14 is better than Adam Dewey as a 6 right now, I don't even think that that's actually like I think that's a fair argument, to be honest.
Yeah,
especially considering like the amount of pressure Galvin was heaping on himself. So my point is, I honestly don't care. Good for Lachlan. Go, like, it's probably a smart decision for him and his management to have made, because it's going to take a lot of pressure off him depending on what club he goes to. Now, if he goes to Parramatta,
even more pressure.
Right. So he's like, you know what, Mike? Let's move on to predictions. What's going on with him? I think this is Perth.
Ooh.
Because
Okay.
I saw a news story come out yesterday. WA Premier comes out and says, "Oh, the talks with the NRL are back on again." Yesterday.
So you think that they're lining it up for 27?
Yeah, I think that Moses has already got. Well, I think Moses is planning this that way. I think that by the end of this year, the WA franchise is going to be announced, and I think that when he comes off contract, that's going to be the club that signs him.
I think that their first choice is Canterbury, but there's a lot going on, and
If that happens, if he signs with the Dogs, the outcry over that, can you imagine how much people are going to then look back on all the way that Phil Gould has positioned this shit?
Yeah.
I don't think Phil Gould's in a position where he can make that decision without completely destroying his reputation.
My old colleague Blaine Cason's been very, very vocal in these comments. He actually mentioned that he thinks that a lot of opinion and bias has been swayed because DCE is a cane toad. I agree, mate. He is so durable, irrespective of what goes on from here and whether or not he plays for West Tigers next year.
I don't think Dewey's going to be our long-term option. My intention was to have Galvin have a rest and like have Dewey fill in at 6 in the meantime and let Galvin like just find his footing back in reserve grade. I'm not saying Dewey's our long-term choice. I'm not saying that this is fine because we could just move on to Dewey. I was pointing out that I'm not that upset with it because I was at a point where I was starting to think Galvin needed rest. Like, and if we're looking at a player who still needs to be balanced and sort of managed that way, we're not looking at a player we want to spend $1 million on. That's all I was saying, okay? So this is not about me like thinking Adam Dewey's the truth and he's going to save the club. So shut the fuck up.
Randomizer. You think some of the boys are filthier Galvin? Yes, I know it for a fact because there's a certain player that played brilliant yesterday who is liking comments on Instagram of punters bagging Lachlan.
Who was that?
Can I say?
Yeah, go on.
Fanua Bolle.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, that's my dog.
This is Moses again, isn't it? He's not going to be at the club for very long.
Charlie, lads, do you think this will impact our ability to retain TDS at all? No, not at all.
No, the difference between Talon and Galvin is Talon bleeds West Tigers.
That's right. Insight, they have Burton. Why would they sign Galvin? Because have you heard Phil Gould? What else we got going on?
I'll just put this one up here just to offset that previous insult. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, John Wick. Nick says Galvin can suck a British broadcasting corporation. Nice.
Look, hey.
Hey, yes, Mitchell.
This kid is 19 and he has the world's worst agent, and he's had his fucking head blown up by Phil Gould and Andrew Johns and all sorts of stuff. Spare a thought for him. I'm not going to come out here and bag Lachlan Galvin. I don't think Lachlan Galvin had much of a say in this. I think he was a passenger along this journey. Not completely, but I think that yeah, I don't see any reason to truly bag the kid. Look, I'll just say it flatly. I think we got out of jail here, because I reckon if he accepted the deal, he would have put a fucking noose around his neck, and I reckon he would have put a noose around the club's neck, and it would have like cost us the ability to build a more competitive roster with whether it's Latu Fainu, DCE. Has Jamal Fogarty finished signing off for Manly yet? I don't like, you know what I mean? Like
That's why the Tigers have moved quickly.
So I mean, if Lachlan Galvin's heading to Manly now, like Jamal Fogarty is to would you rather have Jamal Fogarty 7, Jerome Luai as a 6? I would.
Ugh. No.
Like the problem I've looked at with Lachlan Galvin and Jerome Luai as a 6 and 7 combination is that they both play sideways. Neither of them are game managers. Neither of them have good kicking games. Fogarty is exactly the sort of 7 that we would need.
Yes, but just purely looking at age and big match experience, because we want to.
Aren't you big upping DCE as a signing? What do you mean age? Like I understand, like you want DCE because he's a borderline immortal, but like if you don't get DCE,
Yes.
who else is off contract right now that's currently floating around out there that is around the same clubs as what's being touted here? I'm just saying that one might make even more sense.
Wait and see. But at the same time, I think they'll be conscious of Latu. They've got a 10, 15 year 5/8 there. So, look, this live chat's been unreal. Look, you said that you think that Moses has turned Galvin's head. Yes and no. I would put it to you this way: Jareen Bullett's an Isaac Moses client. I wouldn't expect him in a million years to do something like this, to be quite frank.
Jareen Buller is the crown prince of the Pacifica, and he loves Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I mean, like those two kids, they're not the same kids. They've got different values.
They do, but ultimately, Lachlan's a big boy. He's been complicit in this decision, and he's got a lie in it now. Few people saying release him immediately. Saraz calling him a snake. Yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting to see the fan reaction at CommBank next Monday.
I changed my mind. He's going to get booed to oblivion.
Yeah, I think he is too. I was there that day, that Bulldogs match when Woods and Tedesco were lambasted by the WT faithful. So
he won't run out. Like if what's going on in this chat is a reflection of what's going on in the rest of social media, and I haven't actually had that much of a look, that's gonna they I don't even think the club will risk playing him.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's possible. Maybe your Dewey shout might get up, mate.
I didn't mean to manifest that. Not like this. But I was there the day that the Tigers played the Eels. That was the first game Dylan Brown played after he made the announcement. He got booed a bit. Not as bad as what Galvin's about to call.
I think we'll sold out CommBank on Monday. I think it's going to happen. But look, I said it on X today. We can be really, really proud of our club. History's repeated itself from 10 years ago. We didn't want another Moses situation. Yes, we've lost an extremely talented player and a player that I wanted to keep. But we have strong leadership, great board, great chair, and we can be really, really proud of the manner of which we handled this. We went straight out on the attack. The statement was strong. It was clear. We won't be used as leverage for other clubs to prop up offers. We went in with our best offer, no more, no less, cards firmly on the table. And they didn't even have the respect for West Tigers to just sleep on it. They rejected it the moment they walked into that room. So,
well, mate, they did
disappointing.
Like I said before already, I think that the club did everything they could. And I think that I think we dodged a bullet. Like the West Tigers as a club, there's predictable things that happen to us, and like if we go out there and put $1 million in front of Lachlan Galvin and pick him every week in first grade at 6 without any kind of like bringing him back and managing him, we're just repeating the same thing we did to Luke Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Look how that ended up. I think that we've been saved from ourselves a little bit here. I feel like I don't feel like the club were in the wrong to try to keep him. I feel like they had no choice because he is good and he was going to get that at the market and what have you. I feel like that we we really got lucky. And look, we've had many conversations already this year on both the podcast and offline about whether the gap between him and Latu Finu was that great, and I think we both agree it's not that great.
No.
I threw out earlier like the curveball that I don't think the gap between him and Dewey is that great. I know that somebody said that Dewey and Galvin are similar, and I agree. But Lachlan Galvin can't kick it to the moon and make a fullback drop the ball. He can't kick a 40-20. He can't kick
Let's not forget the talent that this kid has. But right now, based on current form, I don't disagree. But look, he's still learning his trade, and I think that his apprenticeship is now probably going to be halted or delayed in some sense.
Well, what do we do with him? Let's say hypothetically he does stay. Let's say that he just decides to, like, maybe he comes out on Total Footy or whatever, Matty George, and he faces the music this week and he goes, I understand why this would suck with Tigers fans. And he says the most intelligent thing ever, and everybody goes, you know what, that's fucking great. And you are staying for the next 2 years? All right, fine. What do you do?
Oh, well, I'm keeping him at 6 right now, okay? And you give Latu time to build his motor to play 80 at 6. No more of this halfback shit. Just play him at 6, outside falls, and get him match fit and sharp. He can create opportunities. The amount of try involvements he's had, within like 300 or 400 minutes of reserve first grade is off the charts. But we need the kid to just look. Thumb injuries are bad luck, and his hammies are better now because he's carrying less weight. But in saying all of this, we need Latu to be fighting fit. We need him ready. Once that time comes, I would be moving Galvin likely to the bench. We can use him as a 14 in some sense. These comments are really distracting me. Playing through the middle, playing him on an edge. He can be halves cover. He can play in the centres. I wouldn't mind that at all, and likely at Jack Bird's expense. I feel like that's probably a fair thing to do. And when the right offer comes, we have to play hardball like the Melbourne Storm until a suitable offer comes in the form of a swap. He stays contracted to West Tigers. I've seen people, saying for them to do what Wayne Bennett did with Justin Hodges when he signed with Eastern Suburbs. I don't hate that. I don't think there's necessarily there's only one wrong answer, and that is playing Lachlan Galvin at 5/8 until the end of his contract tenure. I think that it is now time to diversify his role, prioritise and develop Latu, and go from there. And once again, if Daly Cherry Evans signs with the club for 2026, like I hope he is, and the club is trying to do, then you run Latu on the bench, you give him minutes where you can, you give him the apprenticeship he deserves, and then he can actually come and he can walk into the number 6 jersey at 22, 23 years old when his body is ready for the week-to-week rigours of having back rowers run at you for 80 minutes. That's my take.
I think your take's very measured, and I think it's very fair, but I wouldn't do one part of that because I would not play him in first grade at the West Tigers ever again. Me personally, I wouldn't because not necessarily because of him, although maybe. I'm not in the inner sanctum, so I don't know exactly what his vibe's been like or what it's about to be like. And there's maybe a lot to be said about people like the guy you mentioned before, liking comments on Instagram, slagging him off about how the players feel about him now. But after what Isaac Moses did with Mitchell Moses, history cannot repeat itself. I refuse to watch a football game Nah, fuck it. I'm not going to watch the Tigers play if he plays again because I am not going to put myself through the fucking experience that I remember feeling watching Mitchell Moses dog it on the field.
Do you think Lachlan Galvin will do that?
What makes you think he wouldn't?
I
What's different about him versus Mitchell Moses? It's been the same fucking playbook
hard to disagree.
with the same agent.
I heard that the saga last year and Lachlan having his name dragged through the mud took a massive, massive toll on his mental health. It really took a toll. This is 10 times bigger. This decision is final. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you're right if Moses gives him a buzz and says, look, do us a favour, just put him on ice this week or for the next few weeks or whatever it may be, or they bunker down for a release.
I don't even think they have to. I think that this got made a lot easier by his performance yesterday because I honestly feel like that they were within their rights to drop him. Like, I feel like that they were within there, especially with the fact that Naden came back and carved up New South Wales Cup.
Excuse me while I let my dog out.
No
Continue.
Naden came back and carved up New South Wales Cup, and I know that this is a little bit of an adjacent thing, but he was having a blinder preseason, carved up New South Wales Cup yesterday. He had the jump on Dewey, but we can't exactly not have Dewey in the side anyway, because we need his goal kicking. I think that they had a real opportunity, even if this didn't blow up today. I think they had a real opportunity to rest Galvin anyway, move Dewey to 6, and then bring Naden back into centre. Even with Skelton getting hurt because they've got Luke Lalali'i, who is in equally good form and has not put a foot wrong this season yet, who will come straight into the side for Skelton. And I would pick Lalali'i over Naden as a left winger any day of the week right now, all things being equal. I have not seen Naden play a good game on the wing in NRL since last decade. So that being said, I don't think that it's even I don't think they need Moses to call him up and ask for a favour. I think that it's a no-brainer. I think if they select him, they got rocks in their head.
Yeah, I'm just reading through this Chamis article, which very much reads like a Isaac Moses ghost written article.
All right, I think we need to invite Wok on camera so we can laugh at his ugly fucking face. How about that?
Wok's a good man. Blaine said, I don't see Galvin doing the Luciano Moses route. I do agree, but I do think that this will take a toll on him and will affect his performances. If he is named, all eyes on Team List Tuesday on this time tomorrow, if they name him, yeah, I'm not anticipating a great game from him if I'm completely honest. I think it'll knock him around.
I can't pick him. I think people are gonna be surprised if Dewey plays 6, and I reckon people are gonna be surprised how good he plays. To be honest.
Well, let's just wait and see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if Lachlan Galvin's played his last game of first grade with the Tigers. So, for those of you who are not familiar with West Tigers faithful, we are one recovering alcoholic, one current alcoholic that talk about the Tigers once a week. This was a one-off podcast. Tuesday, 5 p.m. every Tuesday. We review the week previous. We preview the week after. We run through pathways in every grade. Every grade. We had a win in every grade this weekend. Sydney Shield.
Including Disability NRL.
Yeah, Disability NRL, Sydney Shield, Ron Massey Cup, Jersey Flag, New South Wales Cup, NRL. We are going to review every single game. We do a deep dive. We give you an idea, some youngsters to put in your little black book.
Don't worry about that. We don't review Sydney Shield.
We do not review Sydney Shield or Ron Massey Cup. Or the Disability.
I reviewed Ron Massey Cup this week because Tim Johansson scored a try and had 2 try assists, and he's the current mascot of the podcast. So we might do RMC.
Far too good for that level is Timmy. Anywho, thank you so much for all being here. As a reminder for anybody that's coming late, the Tigers are pursuing a swap deal with the Manly Seagulls for Daly Cherry Evans starting season 2026. With that man, the villain, Lachlan Galvin, going the other way. He's turned heel officially. Anywho, West Tigers faithful. Any parting words?
No. I might stick around and just talk smack to these people commentating. I know you've got places to be. I'll hit the music. We'll do the outro. See you later. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for your passion. thanks for being West Tigers fans. I know you're all prepped and ready for such adventures because this is super par for the course for this club, unfortunately.
Thanks for your time, guys, and hopefully if we get a few return visitors. Cheers.
We're only strangers. We're only strangers until we realize. This life is temporary. Life is temporary. An illusion we must fight. An illusion we must fight. Open up your eyes. Gonna be alright.
Yes, I'm back just to have a little bit more of a chat because there were so many people in here wanting to have a talk. That is true, Sora. Reedy broke on the podcast earlier that he has inside knowledge that the West Tigers immediately set about trying to organise a swap deal. He told me who the source was, and it's pretty good source. So apparently that's legit. I believe, my personal view, given that the relationship Isaac Moses has with Manly Club, with Anthony Seibold, and how many other West Tigers have gone that direction, that they're probably in the box seat for securing Galvin. So it does make quite a lot of sense. So get you on. You want to? Dougie wants to be on. I don't. Oh mate, I wish I knew how to actually bring you up, mate. I don't actually know. I think you'd have to be in the podcast studio for me to do that. Who is? Are you? Is that? Do we have a celebrity in the midst? Is Doug some sort of celebrity? Chuck him in the front row, says Cameron. Chuck him in the front row. Well, I mean, Brodie Jones played in the front row for Newcastle on the weekend, and it seemed like that was a really good idea for them. So why not? Let's chuck him in the front row. Clean out all Moses clients, says Randomizer. Randomizer, the only one we have left now is Jareem Buller, and I'm afraid to say I wouldn't want to clean out Jareem Buller. I think we kind of need him. Can we get a Latu chant going on Monday? Mate, I'm sure you could. Just stand there and have a few beers and then start chanting Latu, and I'm sure a whole bunch of people around you will start cheering him on as well. Hopefully he plays in 2 weeks at Leichhardt Oval so he can cop an earful from the crowd. Personally, hope he doesn't, because I don't like seeing West Tigers suffer, and I view that as suffering. Terrell May to 5'8". Bloke can do it all. Mate, you're not wrong. Maybe we should play Alex Twal at 7 while we're at it. Our forwards seem to be the only players that are actually putting in this year so far. Warrior here, feel sorry for Tigers. Moses is a team wrecker. Where's the petition? I will sign it. What a joke. Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, we've had a fair few Warriors fans watching our podcast of late. I think the game between the Warriors and the Tigers the other week, I think that was a good contest. I thought DCE was off contract next year, though. Yeah, no, he's off contract at the end of this year. He is available for 2026, as is my understanding. So no, it's and to be honest, like the way that these things tend to pan out, if you remember Mitchell Moses, if Galvin goes that way earlier than later, then there's no reason why it couldn't happen the other way around. And contracts are written on napkins in the NRL. We know this. Wok says deep inside knowledge. That's correct. It was deep, and it was deep inside him, if you catch my drift. Shitney Morning Herald says Lachlan Galvin is jealous of Luai and Benji. Are you serious? That got printed in the Sydney Morning Herald? Fuck the NRL media. God. I reckon we should start our own NRL newspaper called realfootynews.com and start printing articles and post them on Reddit. What's my lineup this week? Luke Lolly, left wing, Brent Naden, left centre, Adam Dewey, 6. Otherwise, unchanged. Yeah, that's my lineup. I reckon Adam Dewey would. I reckon he's shaken off his injury concerns. I reckon he's the best. Without Latu around, I would pick Dewey ahead of Lachlan Galvin, even if Lachlan Galvin wasn't heading out the door, to be honest. Thoughts on Benji? Changes nothing. Like this Lachlan Galvin stuff's been brewing since the start of last year. I think Benji's given him a heap of love, a heap of energy, a heap of chances. Gave him his debut, put a whole bunch of faith in him. I would feel sorry for Benji. I think Benji. I think Benji's put a lot of faith in young guys, and to be rewarded like this is probably pretty poor form. Really, I feel bad for him. The Usos at the club turning on Galvin. Team Benji versus Team Galvin. I don't know about. I don't know if Galvin's got too many guys on his team. If the Usos have turned on him, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want to be in his position. Phoenix got an A as a Moses client. Well, that's Reedy won't like that because he loves Phoenix got an A. I feel bad for Manly. Brooks and Galvin in the halves. This is, I mean, where's the lie? Where's the lie? Do you think Tigers ask Buller to find new management and we ban Moses for the future? Yeah, it's interesting. I'm surprised Buller is managed by Moses still, to be honest. I think Buller has options. Yeah, the guys that manage Luai, probably, I reckon if the Tigers asked Buller to just go have a chat with them, he'd probably be a better fit with them anyway. Losing his invite to Sunday Mass is going to devastate Lockie. Wowee. Lock, you have been a revelation in the chat today. Some incredible takes. And please come back and give us more incredible takes. I think that I might be done here unless somebody else has got anything to ask. This has been fun. I reckon. Well, what? We got a question. What are the chances of actually getting a swap deal to happen? Well, I mean, history is the best indicator of what's possible, right? And the Tigers have lost a lot of players over the years, and there's been a lot of swap deals touted, and there's been a lot of players that have left the club and us go, why didn't we broker a deal the other direction? And it very rarely has it actually panned out. And when it has, you get Justin Olam for Sean Bloor. So, with that being said, with Richo at the helm, I would say that the chances are a bit higher. It makes a lot of sense, but things that make a lot of sense don't necessarily always pan out. I was saying to Reedy, I think it all comes down to DCE, really. If DCE has a meeting with the West Tigers this week, and he likes Benji, and he likes Richo, and he likes the idea of playing next to Jerome Luai, and Jerome Luai, importantly, is happy to relinquish the 7 jersey and go back to his role as a 6, which there's a plot line there because Jerome Luai obviously came to the club apparently because he wanted to be Batman, and then to suddenly be put back in the role of a 6 would take a lot of it would, you know, it'd be a sign of maturity in the guy, like, but I don't know if he would want to do it. Maybe he would. Maybe he would just go, you know what's best for the team. I'm cool with that. Because it is Daly Cherry Evans. If we had Dream Buller, Jerome Luai, Daly Cherry Evans, and Abasai Coruscant as our spine, if that was our spine starting next week, can we win the premiership with that spine this year? I mean, it is the best spine in the NRL. Period. So, I don't know, like, it makes sense. Hopefully it does happen. This has been West Tigers Faithful, and I am out of here. Peace.